Yes, indeed. Man, there's been a lot of debate on this. There's been a lot of debate on this, but we go put it to bed today. This is one of them shows you need to archive. You need to lock it in because if you lock this in, you won't make mistakes going forward. I do this pretty much every year, and pretty much every year, I be hitting it like pretty spot on, like boom to the T. Calculating market value, and it's very kind of easy. But like I always do, I'm gonna give a lot of receipts on this show. I'm gonna show a lot of evidence on this show because it is a lot of debate, and it's a lot of debate on this all the time. Like when it comes down to player value, especially with a cap that's rising so aggressively, it's easy to miscalculate what a player is worth, especially when we start comparing to other players. See, that's what start messing people up is, and I'm gonna get into that, I'm gonna show that, but a lot of people make the mistake when they trying to do this is they say, Pickens is not no Jefferson, he's not no Chase, and they kind of get caught up in that stuff when it's not about that. It's you do compare, and I'm gonna get into that, but it's more so about, are you in a particular tier? Are you in a particular tier? It's not about the exact matchings. It's about, are you in the family? Do you qualify to be in that neighborhood? That's what it's really about. So a lot of people get caught up and say, well, he's no Puka Nacua when they talking about Pickens, so he shouldn't even be in that conversation. Yeah, but it's the both of them are in tier wide receiver 1, and once you're in a certain tier, you get paid like that, regardless if all the accolades don't exactly match. So I'm gonna get into that. Before I start getting into the details, I'm gonna do this fast and get to the point. I don't want this to be a long video because I want people to be able to watch this, get the facts, and get on. Okay, so go for a Hail Mary on Sleeper Picks and win up to 100 times your money. Use promo code BCS and Sleeper will 100% match your first deposit up to $100 instantly. And with Sleeper, they doing something new. Sleeper Daily Fantasy is a mobile-based daily fantasy sports platform, so you can get the app, where users create entries by predicting if players will achieve more or less than their projected statistical totals. Sleeper has launched a new teams pick, and you can choose winners of each game. All right, so let me just do one thing real quick. I just need to make sure that I got everything working properly on my channel. Then I'm gonna get right into it. I'm not gonna waste no time. Y'all just give me 1 second to check, because I gotta make sure that, yeah, it's good. Okay, my thumbnail not in there, so let me just add my thumbnail and then we go. Okay, that's all I need to do. That's gonna take me a second. I just need to make sure that when people see me come up, that they know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Because then that gives people a chance to know if they even want to listen or not. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of people need to learn this particular thing, because I know some people that think, I came up with the 40 million because I'm trying to make it seem like it's hard or making it almost impossible to get Pickens. No, I ain't doing that. What I'm doing is I'm trying to show what his real market value is, so that when the negotiations start going back and forth about trade proposals in the public, we need to know what's fair or not. That's why I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying? You need to know what's fair, because see, right now what was leaked out there, 30 million, that ain't even possible. It's not like he is not doing that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. 30, just divorce that number, trash that, throw that number in the whole trash, because it's too far off the market value. And Pickens is not gonna disrespect himself by being under DK. Now, if he want to be team friendly, I'm gonna get into that. He could be team friendly, but we need to know that team friendly at this moment is anything under 39 million, and I'm gonna prove that. Okay, so all right, so I got everything rolling. I just want to make sure I got the draft in the background, and I'm gonna get right into it. Okay, now after this show, if you keep up with this, you would never fall for the trap that you see most people fall for. And I'm gonna show you the typical traps that most people fall for. Um, yeah, and I got y'all comments to where I'm seeing them, and I got the combine in the background, so I'm trying to get it all. I might have to skip the combine real quick. No, I ain't gonna do that. I can see y'all comments another way. Let me do it like this. I'm gonna pull you up on my phone, cause I'm trying to have the combine in the background too. You know, man, we gotta be able to walk and chew bubble gum. You know how that go. So let me do this. Let me just pull y'all up first where I can see y'all comments, because I want to be able to see what y'all saying to this as well. It's gonna kind of help the show, because I also want y'all to interact this show. Don't sit. I'm gonna ask you some questions once we start getting to the receivers. I'm gonna ask y'all some questions. Hold on real quick. So y'all gonna have to participate, because this is gonna be about what's fair. And somebody said 35 is a fair value. Let's watch the presentation first, bro. Yeah. Watch the presentation first. I know people pulling numbers out their ass, but I'm gonna show my work today. You know what I'm saying? All right, so all right. And this gonna be unrefutable. You ain't gonna be able to refute it once you get all the facts. It's very much unrefutable. Nobody can refute what I'm gonna say today once I show how to really do this. Yeah, and I'm gonna do a response to Jerry on the bus, because he doing a lot of bullshitting. You know, these running backs is rolling. Woo-wee! Man, these running backs is busting the clock. Ooh, all right. So here we go. Damn, boy, these running backs is rolling. All right, I should be able to see y'all comments now. All right, so I can see your comments now. So let's get right into it. Okay, so when it comes to the cap, this is what I want everybody to understand. The first thing I want everybody to understand is you can get a real good clue of what's getting ready to happen in the NFL from basketball, right? The main reason is because their CBA agreements are always done before the NFL. So when you see a shift in how their business is done in basketball, it gives you a clue of what's getting ready to happen in football. Okay. So, and this is gonna get down to how to properly do it. Okay. So when we talking, you gonna say, boss, why are you talking about basketball? Okay. Because everything that's happening right now in football first happened in basketball. Okay. Everything. So they had a cap explosion like the Cowboys. Like the NFL, the exact same way, right? And what began to happen is their salaries exploded. There was a massive explosion in their salaries, and you started to even see role players beginning to have deals like former stars, right? We seeing that now in football, because we are now within the new CBA, right? In the former CBA, remember it was a time that 40 million used to be quarterback money. Now it's receiver money. Why? Because the cap has exploded. It's going up by 25 million per year. Okay. Under the former CBA, the cap was growing on average 10 million per year. So to put it in perspective, under the former cap, it would take 5 years to do what it now takes 2 years. That's telling you how fast the cap is growing. So when you see that type of speed of growth, we can't make the mistake that a lot of people make. And this is the first mistake you see a lot of people make. Mistake one, when you see them talking about and trying to compare players. They're comparing average per years on with different years. That's where they make a mistake. What do I mean by that? So they'll say something like this: Pickens wants 35 million Shh. That's what Justin Jefferson got. He ain't no Justin Jefferson. But see, what's happening is you comparing the average per year of what they got, but you ain't factoring in the growth in the cap. That's the mistake that most people make. And so what they end up doing is they end up undervaluing a guy that's up next in the market because they're not taking into account the growth in the cap. So let me give you a perfect example, as we was talking about this with basketball as the example. Okay. So that's why this article came out and it said, forget about normal contracts. Right. And this is going to perfectly equate to football. So y'all stay with me. These type of shows is where you got to kind of sit back and you got to pay attention. You can't be cooking, can't be arguing with your lady. You can't be playing your PS6. You got to be locked in what I'm saying, or you go miss something. So the salary cap has been rising for decades. This was talking about basketball. And we've gradually become accustomed to what a player is and isn't worth in the NBA. But the 24 million increase is so sharp. What did that number say? What did that number say was sharp? What number was sharp? The $24 million increase, right? And then so let's ask a question. What has been happening in football since the new CBA kicked in? It's been doing that every year. 25 million, boom, boom, every year. So, but the 24 million increase is so sharp that the numbers normally associated with certain types of players can go out the window. Right? You see, it's already breaking it down for you, right? So with the cap rising dramatically, it's more accurate. Everybody say this with me. More accurate to view contracts as a percentage of the total cap. Say it with me again, because my boy Vach always say this, because this is going to be on your test. It's more accurate when you're trying to make a comparison to do a comparison by the percentage of the cap that player took up at the time in which they signed it. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do that right now. We're going to look at the players that's in the tier of wide receiver 1, and we're going to look at what was it when they signed it. What was that player's percentage of the cap when they signed it? And then you compare that to Pickens. That's how you determine the market. That's how you do it. Okay. So let's do it. We go do it right now. So who you want to start with? Who y'all want to start with? Let's start with Amon-Ra Brown. Amon-Ra Brown, when he signed his contract April 24th, 2024. His average per year was 33 million. So if we doing what the article clearly said to get a more accurate comparison, they said don't do it by the average per year, do it by the percentage of the cap. So he said, hold on. He said the problem is you have Pickens as a wide receiver 1, but fair enough. Oh, hold on real quick. See, we not gonna play no games, bro. This is what we not gonna do today. We not gonna act like Pickens ain't no wide receiver 1. See, now when it's time to pay him, he not a wide receiver 1. Is that what we doing, bro? See, when it was during the season, everybody, he a 1. We got 2 1s. We got 2 1s. But now when it's the problem is you making him up. Now he belongs in the tier of wide receiver 1. We not gonna change it now that it's time for him to get paid. So going back to Amon-Ra Brown. And I have it all here, bro. I got the actual contract stuff here too. So here, I can show you the actual date and transaction. So the transaction he did was April 24, 2024. I'm not lying, on Amon St. Brown. What was the percentage of the cap that he took up? And somebody said he's a wide receiver one, just not on this team. We're not going to do that. He is a number one also on this team. So hold on, wait. We said he not a number one on this team. Now people saying after 1 year, boss. Yeah, after 1 year, he's a number one. Oh, see, I see what y'all doing. Y'all switching up. He not a number one now. He's a yeah. See what it's time to fail. Now he not a number one. Is that what we doing? God, man, y'all some little baby Jerry Jones. And he was a number one also at Pitt. I'm gonna explain that too. Boy, y'all tripping. Y'all are tripping. Let me go back to this. I'm gonna come back to this. All right. That's why I want to see y'all comments. This is funny. So the percentages of the cap that he took up was right at 13, 1.29, right? So let's just do this for shits and giggles, okay? Let's just do this for shits and giggles. So the new cap right now was announced yesterday. This 301. So what would Amon St. Brown be today if he signed that same contract he did in 2024? He would be in today's cap 38 million, or right at $39 million. Now, let me ask you a question. Who had a better quarterback for most of their career? Did Amon have a better quarterback for most of his career, or did Pickens? See, because we take the quarterback out when we try to shit on Pickens. We take the quarterback out. We say he just did his production. Yeah, he just had Dak too. Did anybody also go look at what he did when Russell Wilson got in the game versus Pitt? Did anybody see how he just took off like a light? See, that's why we can't just say he's not a number one, because we're looking at Pittsburgh numbers. You got to look at also the environment they was in. So, and GMs are going to understand that. They're going to understand, oh, obviously when you dropped Pickens into a good quarterback, you got just as much, or not even just as much, you got more production under Pickens. Nobody's going to question the value of Pickens. Let's just be straight up about that. All these people that's like, oh, he just did it for 1 year. No, they understand context. They do. These teams definitely understand context. They go look at George Pickens in comparison to St. Brown, and they go say, when you finally drop George into a good quarterback that was similar to Amon St. Brown's career, who had nothing but good quarterbacks, well, I see the same type of dude or better. So therefore, they are in the same tier called wide receiver one tier. Period. So now we know the numbers on St. Brown. Let's keep going. So the next guy would be CeeDee Lamb. So CeeDee Lamb, when he signed his contract in 2024 as well. And so we know better now to compare him and his APY to Pickens. We know better than to do that, because we now have references on how to properly do it. This is the reference, right? That when you have big spikes in the cap, you have to compare these guys according to the percentage of the cap. So with CeeDee Lamb, when he signed for $34 million as the average per year. That wasn't his cap hit. That was his average per year. What was the percentage of the cap of CeeDee Lamb at that time? 0.133 or 13%. So I was debating Fisher today because Fisher been saying that his number is much lower. And I was like, no, it's not. No, his market should be right around CeeDee Lamb. And that's the fairest and easiest one to compare. Why? Because you dropped 2 receivers to the same quarterback. True or false? You had 2 receivers with the same quarterback in the same offensive system. What is that? There is no fairer comparison than that. You had one quarterback throwing to 2 dudes, and now you can measure it side by side. And when you put both of those guys side by side, let's keep it real. It was millions of Cowboy fans and a lot of professional analysts that was saying with a straight face that potentially Pickens was better. Is that true or false? I just want to ask a question. Did I just lie on what I said? When they dropped Pickens with CeeDee Lamb and Pickens on the same field, was it a legitimate argument of who was the real number one? Can somebody answer that question, please? Yeah, we know the answer. The answer was yes. It was a true conversation where nobody laughed during the season if anybody said Pickens is the actual number one. So if that's the case, that should say to everybody what he should be around if we're comparing him to CeeDee Lamb. And we have to do the same math, right? The same simple ass math, right? Because people try to act like we doing some old crazy ass math. No, this is simple stuff, bro. So what you do is you say, okay, if CeeDee Lamb at the time he signed for 13% of the cap, right? If he signed for 13% of the cap, let's just do the math today. Okay, so this is the math. Same math, very simple. Today's cap, let me get the calculator out again. So today's cap, it came out that it's 301, right? See, y'all playing games, bro. See, let's see, like this type of shit right here, bro. Like, come on, bro. See, I'm starting to see some of y'all some baby Stephen Joneses and Jerry. See, y'all want to cheer for a dude till it's time to pay him. Now we playing games. When you say to find a GM that said that, man, stop the cap, bro. Like, can we stop that? You capping like, bro, boy, this is some straight up cap. Find a GM that said that. Man, that is so whack, bro, that y'all like to play these games like that. So we go sit here with a straight face and act like that there's no conversation. About this in terms of comparing them to his peers. And somebody say you'll never see 1,400 out of Pickens again. You can't guarantee that. You can't guarantee that. To my guarantee it. I mean, the likelihood is low, but it could happen again. It might be more. Quit bullshitting. He could do more. Put it like this. If CeeDee Lamb got hurt for the season and he became the official number one with Dak, he might do more. Stop playing. You boys is playing games, bro. Now, likely it won't happen, especially if it's 2 number ones on the field and your defense is better. Yeah, that's going to make it hard for him to put up. But if your defense is getting killed and CeeDee Lamb is hurt, oh, yeah. Yeah, he could do it. But I'm seeing some real fakeness going on. Somebody say you don't like 34, boss. It ain't about liking 34. It's about is it realistic? It ain't about liking it. It's about showing your work. And I'm over showing my work and boys over here like I'm lying and shit. Boy, y'all crazy as fuck. Like I'm like literally showing in detail the work, bro. I got the contracts and everything sitting up here. I got CeeDee Lamb shit sitting right here. Yeah, the transaction dates. Like, I do too much work to play games, bro. I ain't playing games like some of y'all. CeeDee signed for $34 million, and I have the transaction date. It was 2024. If you go to the transaction date, you can see he signed it in 2024. Yeah. So when you look at CeeDee Lamb, that's a fair comparison. That is a fair comparison. It is. I don't care what none of y'all say. That's a very fair comparison to Pickens' worth. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb. See, when it was during the season, people didn't mind saying it. But when it's time to pay him, oh, no, I just want that number to be 34. Man, nah, bro. We need to know what his value really is. So what we do, let's go back and do the math again, because it's simple. And I'm showing you the reference that everybody's telling you this is the proper way to do it. This is the proper way to do it. The proper way to do it is the percentage of the cap. But most people, they try to do it by the APY, or the average per year. So that's why you get so many people that'll say, man, shit, Pickens, man, if he want more than 34, man, I'm out. I'm like, nah, you better know his number. You better know what's fair, because then y'all gonna be trying to get rid of him because he want what's fair to himself. So if we go back like I just did, and let's do the math. So CeeDee Lamb, is my computer tripping? Let me do, all right, here we go. So CeeDee Lamb is 0.33%. If you multiply that by today's cap of 301, what is that? Right at 40. This is why the people that know what they talking about is telling you his market value compared to his peers is right around $40 million in today's cap. So he said our fans like paying Pickens what he's worth is hurting their pockets. Yeah, man. It's like, nah, bro. Nah. Oh, nah, it ain't hurt. Yeah. But it's like we need to at least know what his worth is. So because when you're comparing them to their peers. That's what it is. So let's keep going. Then you have another one that tripped people up. This is the one that tripped people up the worst. Jefferson. That gets him. That gets him every time. Oh, Pickens, he's no Jefferson. He's no Justin Jefferson, boss. You're capping, boss. You're capping. He's not worth 35. Justin Jefferson got 35. But let's talk about it for real. So when Justin Jefferson got his 35 average per year, the cap at that time was $255 million, which is 2024. He was 1.37% of that. So then let's go back to the calculator and say that was yesterday's price for him. What would today's price be if he did that same deal today? Let's do the math. 0.137 times the new cap of 301, 41 million. So even if you saying he's not no Justin Jefferson, well, okay, fine. Let's just say if Justin Jefferson is right at 14% of the cap, wouldn't you say 13 is fair? Most people would. What's up, Starboy? What's up? I see you. So that means today's price for Justin Jefferson would be 41 million. And somebody say Jerry ain't gonna pay 40 million He gone. Yeah. And see, now it should make sense why they put that non-exclusive tag on him. Let's keep going though. Oh no. See, some of y'all gotta kind of think a little bit. Y'all not right thinking. I'm really doing a good job of trying to really help y'all. Somebody say just a waste of time. Doesn't effing matter comparing our wide receivers money. Yes, it does. Because it's a whole lot of people that get tricked because they don't know what's fair. So like for instance, and then you cussing. What be tripping me out is people be like aggressive, wrong. Like how y'all aggressive and wrong? That shit be tripping me out. Like, so when Calvin Watkins leaked out that 30 was a possibility, you don't think a lot of fans bought into that? So what's gonna happen when David Mulugeta start throwing out counter proposals that's really his true market value? What are the fans gonna say? The fans go think that he's being greedy. That's why this presentation is important. If you know what's truly fair to him, then you won't be subject to propaganda. And you won't be like the typical Cowboy fans that fall for the propaganda. Listen, I already got some memes in here because I saw this same shit with Dak. These are the memes that I was doing in 2018. Because every time they leak about their own players, they do leaks that make them look greedy. So this is the game they say. They were saying this with Dak. Dak turned down $32 million and the fans was mad. Tag him! Tag his ass! They need to tag him if he being greedy. He wants 32. But see, they was never talking about the real value of Dak compared to his peers. This show was putting Dak side by side his peers. Let me go pull that receipt. Since you playing with me, let me go pull that receipt from a bunch of work I've already done on this. This ain't new to me, dog. Shit, hell wrong with some of y'all. Like, why we comparing? Yeah, so we's not stupid. Some people want to be stupid. Some people want to be educated. You choose. Fuck wrong with y'all. So hold on real quick. Let me show you. And this is old work that I've done. This is old work. Yeah. So look at this. So I did this a long time ago when Dak was fighting for his money. And you could see the public offers, right? And see, they were saying what Dak turned down and it made him look greedy. But they wasn't talking about how Dak was compared to his peers. So when you compare Dak to his peers, the Cowboys was making offers that was actually insulting him. But when the common fan don't really understand how you relate to your peers, then they will attack the player. So the offer that they made to Dak to the average fan seems good. Oh, they offered him $35 million per year. But see, they leave off important details like the total guarantee was under Watson, Goff, and a lot of it was under Wentz. And it still was really under Wentz because guess what? They put more guarantee on a 4-year. They was offering Dak a 5-year. They was screwing Dak and they was throwing a proposal at him. But then they were saying he turned it down. Of course he turned it down because he was outperforming Watson. He was outperforming Goff. He was outperforming Wentz, and they was making offers under them. Of course he turned it down. So that's why smart people want to know, how does he compare to the other receivers? Don't be this dude. Never be this dude right here. Never be that dude. Like I'm wasting y'all time educating y'all on how the market really works, giving y'all all kind of true factual details on a proper way to compare these people so that we don't get tricked and pimped. Never be that dude. He said, boss, and we can just say just because they put him on a tag, maybe they're just trying to see his value. Bro, listen, bro. You don't have, and I told this to Fisher. This goes, this is what y'all got to be very careful you listen to, because people be saying stuff that's just not true, bro. So this leads to common mistake 3 on that comment I just heard. Believing bidding creates value. No, bidding does not create value. So Fish was putting that out there. And Coach Maul said the same thing. You need 2 people to bid to know what your worth is. No, that's not true. The people the way that you know what somebody's worth is you compare them to their peers. It's their peers that let them know their worth. How do they relate to their peers? And are they in the category? So, and this is what kills that myth that they needed to see what his worth is. It's because they knew Dak's worth, and he wasn't bidding and competing against nobody. He was under the exclusive tag. When you under the exclusive tag, you can't be put out to the market to see what your worth is. But yet they knew what to offer him because it was a comparison to his peers. They didn't need other teams to co-sign the worth. The peers co-sign the worth. They didn't need to do the non-exclusive tag. They didn't. They did that because they low-key really saying we interested in seeing what we can get for them. And then a lot of people that's just loving with Pickens, you just got to be able to just kind of see what it is. Somebody say, man, boss, the players are the prize, not the teams negotiate. Explain that. I don't know what you mean by that. But let me go back to what I was saying. So that's the mistake that a lot of people make. Is they make the common mistake is comparing average per years on different years. That's what trip up people every year. And that's how y'all don't want to hear this, but I'm going to tell you the truth anyway. That's actually the game that the Cowboys are playing right now against Aubrey. Because they keep saying, we offered him more than a previous high paid kicker. He got 6.4. We offered him 6.5. But what they not telling you is that was in 24 when that kicker signed that deal. They not giving you the updated price based on the new cap. They not, and see the cap, and this is why don't be like that dude Joshua Fisher. Why are we comparing? Why do we need to know the numbers? You need to know if people trying to fast talk you or not. You wouldn't walk up to a car dealership without a Carfax. You probably would if you stupid. But people that's smart, they go Carfax. What is that? Look at comparable cars that's in the like and kind of condition of your car to see if I'm going to get a fair deal. So just like no person that's reasonable or smart will show up and start shopping for cars without a Carfax. But y'all trying to say, what Joshua over here like, what we over here fuck aggressive and wrong. What the fuck be wrong with y'all? Like, how you gonna be like, if you would have said, boss, I don't understand why we comparing receivers. I wouldn't have even been tripping. I would have been like, we're comparing receivers because we need to look at the Carfax. We're looking at the Carfax and the blue book to see what's fair. So if somebody try to hit it with a low ball offer, we gonna know if it's bullshit or not. We're Carfaxing. That's what we're doing. We're Carfaxing weapons, sir. That's what we doing. We went and we put the VIN in and we saw how many yards, when was this car purchased? Because I don't want to get bamboozled and I don't want nobody Trying to, man, Sticky, every time you do that, you walk away, bro. You did this the last time. You asked me to open up the phone lines. I opened up the phone lines for you, and then when I opened up the phone lines, you was gone. Literally every time you do that. Every time you say, hey man, open up the phone line, because I know you got something to say, but I open up the phone lines 2 times for you, Sticky, and you do not show up. Then other people will call in and they'll take the time I did for you. Every time you, hey, open up the phone. And I know you gonna say some good shit. I know it. I could tell you gonna say some good stuff. I could tell. But bro, if I open up the phone lines and you not here, I'm definitely not doing it again for you, bro. Real talk. Cause sometimes I be tired. I be trying to get out of here, but I'll hook you up and be like, yeah, I'm gonna open it up. He said at work, but today's Saturday. All right, bro. All right. I might open up the phone lines. I really don't want to, because I want to kind of get to the point and get off of this one. I'll do it on the next show. So then let's look at the next guy, Chase. Jamar Chase. So Jamar Chase, when he signed his, that's wrong. I got the date wrong on that. Hold on real quick. Let me get this right. I knew it when I saw it. Hold on real quick. Let me do this real quick. Because he signed his last year. Hold on real quick. Yep. I got that wrong. All right. Let me fix that real quick. Let me fix the presentation. So you got to be able to catch that type of stuff. See, I'm looking at the transaction right now. He actually signed his March 17th, 2025. All right, so, and I have the transaction history right here. Here's the Carfax. Why is that important? Why is that important? So yes, Paul, he did get the bag. He did, right? He got 40.2. And this is where you'll hear a lot of people say, Pickens ain't no Chase. He ain't no Chase. He shouldn't be up there with Chase money, boss. But remember, yesterday's price is not today's price. So when Chase signed his deal, right? When Chase did his deal was 14% of the cap, or 14.4. Okay. So let's go do the math. Compared to today's price. So 44 times 301 is 43. So when I say, and let's ask this question now that we can see it in perspective, in today's price, just like the reference said do. Didn't the reference say with a rising cap that's rising aggressively, the best way and most accurate way is to compare these people by percentage of the cap? Isn't that the proper way to do it? So if we do it that way, is it really unfair to say that Pickens is worth around $39 to $40 million? Because now we can see the percentages of the cap and we can compare them from percentages. So let me say it like this. Let's do it like this. Let's just ask it like this. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is getting right at 13%, what should Pickens get? Can we ask it like that? Is that a fair way to say it? See, don't fall for the average per year number, because that's a different year. That doesn't account for growth. But the percentage of the cap does. So let's answer this question. I want everybody to answer too. Even that dude Fisher, Joshua Fisher. I want you to answer this. You supposed to use the percentages. So let me ask you a question. If Amon-Ra St. Brown got right at 13%. What should Pickens get? Let's ask this question. If CeeDee Lamb got right at 13%, what should Pickens get? I want to see answers too, bro. Yeah. And somebody said he has worked with someone is willing to pay him. I guarantee you that his teams out there that's willing to pay him 40 or 30 without blinking. I guarantee that because they know he a number one. He's in the tier. Once you in that tier family, you go get around what you supposed to get. Now, see, my boy Sticky said 14%. See why y'all don't want to answer now. See why you don't want to answer. You know why people don't want to answer? Because it's going to walk you to the truth. I want to see answers, bro. The only person that answered was Sticky. It's too many people in here watching. No, I need answers. I'm asking a direct question. My boy, of course, D.A. Lee answered. He's an OG. Yeah. See, we got two answers. Now, what's your answer? Let's see. I see what's going on. It's a whole lot of people thinking I'm doing this presentation to hate on Pickens, and I'm over here trying to help people not be stupid. That's the thing I'm trying to do. So we got my boy Sticky, 14%. And then I like what you said, D.A. Lee, because it's gonna work out like you said too, D.A. Lee. D.A. Lee said 13 to 15%. Common Sense said 13% as well. So then Tyrone Church said 14%. So we got all these people in here. We only got 4 answers. Now we got 5, 13%. All right. So somebody said 12%. Okay. We gonna look at that number. And then put why you said 12%. I want to know why you said that. I want to know your logic of putting 12%. And then somebody said 14%. We got somebody else that said 13%. Most people saying 12 or 13%. Somebody else said 14%. So, cause see, now we're all calculating it based on the percentages of the cap. See, when you do it on the percentages of the cap, it really start showing you what the number should be. And my boy DP Johnson say 14%. So most of the people saying between 12 and 14%. That's what I'm saying. So I'm still waiting on answers. It's way too many people in here for us not to be able to get answers. And then he say, y'all tripping after 1 year. Let me address this real quick. So this is why I said, and I got to explain this. This is going to really help people understand this because they be looking at this, in my opinion, completely backwards. So the best way I can explain this is GMs look at context. Fans don't. GMs look at context. So let me explain that. So when you go look at the production, the 1 year, right? And you look at the fact that what Pickens did, right? You don't think GMs understand the context of production? You don't think okay, so if we looking at just numbers without context, the numbers would say that George Pickens is way better than Justin Jefferson. But nobody would say that. Because everybody understands who his quarterback was. Everybody, see, GMs understand context. So if you just try to basically diminish what Pickens did by saying it was just done in 1 year, that's not thinking in context, and that's not looking at the overall picture. Because smart GMs, after looking at what he did with Dak, is now able to put 2 and 2 together, and it's very easy to put this together. Very easy. That quarterback play has a lot to do with receiver production. Yeah. And see, like, and I already told y'all that when you drafted to a team to be the hero, the failure rate on that is exponential. This is what I mean. When a team drafts you to be the primary weapon, most receivers fall off a cliff under that much pressure. Because every week you going against the best corner, they trying to stop you, they bracketing you, they doing everything to stop a young weapon. But yet, in year 1, he had 800 yards. In year 2, he had 1,140 yards. In year 3, he had 900. In year 4, he had 1,400 yards. Because the context of the numbers matter. Now, if you want to just kind of oversimplify it, you'll say it was just 1 year. No, it's the context. Just like anybody that's smart would say Justin Jefferson had just 1 year that looks off. But then somebody with common sense would say, shit, his quarterback was JJ. You see how they was able to put that together? Like, but when you gave him somebody even like a Kirk Cousins, who could, like, now he would make some mistakes, but Kirk was gonna slang that thing around. Justin Jefferson, a whole nother Justin Jefferson when the quarterback. Just like when Dak was with CeeDee for the whole year, he had 1,700 yards. But when CeeDee Lamb was with Cooper Rush, he barely hit over 1,000 yards. Same receiver, totally different quarterback. Yeah. So guess what? I guarantee you these GMs know how to do this. They know how to say, oh, it's clear now. Shit, we might have doubted you when you was at Pittsburgh, but we saw you under 2 good quarterbacks now. We saw what happened to you when Russell Wilson got checked in. Oh yeah, and it changed. See, we did some film breakdowns on Pickens last year. And I remember the early parts of looking at Pickens. I was like, but then I had to keep watching. And by the time I got up to like game 7 and they put Russell Wilson in the game, and Russell Wilson is super call on that deep ball still. So yeah, after 1 year, he is a tier 1 wide receiver 1. And people with common sense already know it. They ain't over here like, I need to see it another year to be sure. Nah, you saw it game in and game out. You ain't got to look at a whole nother year. Yeah, you know what it is. So he say, we will see. Yeah, we go see. Now, this is the good news, though. This is the good news for everybody that's really pro Pickens getting paid. The fact that we just announced that we did all them triggers on Dak, CeeDee, and Tyler Smith way ahead of the deadline to get your caps under, that's likely that they might be already working on a deal with Pickens. Because anybody that know and watch our patterns know that the Dallas Cowboys love to pull triggers right before they actually close the deal. Even look at the Logan Wilson. They cut Logan Wilson. Next day, boop, they sign Williams. And see, that's why I was glad they put that non-exclusive on him. Because I said that's going to draw him to the table. Yeah. And I said this, a lot of people didn't understand this, but I said it loud and clear. I said sometimes if you want Pickens, you got to show that you're willing to lose him. And I said that's gonna go over a lot of people's head. I said you gotta get him away from David Mulligata. You gotta show him I'm willing to lose you. That's what that non-exclusive tag does. Then all of a sudden you get an announcement that Jerry talked to him. Wow, what a surprise. And y'all know Jerry ain't gonna talk to him without talking numbers. Come on now. See, that probably went over a lot of people's head what I just said. I'm gonna turn off the music and say it again. I said this, a lot of people didn't get it when I said it. I said, if you want Pickens and you want to really stop the power of David Mulligata, you got to show you're willing to lose him. You got to. And that's what the non-exclusive says. It says we willing to shop you. If you go just try to turn us over, I've been on this. I've been said this. I said, bro, Jerry and them was saying, if you go just turn us over to David Mulligata and say, hey, I'm not talking to you, do everything through my agent, they basically send a message. Okay, cool. If you want to do it like that, all right, we go see what we can get for you. We go see what we can get for you. And so all of a sudden you get an announcement that Jerry talked to him. It drew him to the table. See? Yep. And now all of a sudden you seeing all this money being moved around. Ooh. So, yeah, it could be under, 39 or 40, but that's his worth. And if it is under 39, it's because he hooked up the Cowboys. But he has a full right if he wants to. If he wants to be tough, he has a full right to say, man, go get my worth. He could. It's up to Pickens. If Pickens wants to be a Dallas Cowboy, he is going to have to be team friendly, and his deal is going to be anywhere from 36 to 38. His deal is going to be anywhere from 36 to 38 if he wants to be team friendly. But if he goes out into the open market, Pickens is going to get 41 to 43 in his sleep. Yeah, see. See, I see what's happening, bro. Y'all, I see exactly what be happening with some of y'all. Y'all just want Pickens so bad that, like, y'all be falling for shit that be like, my boy Shredrick say, boss, Jerry on the bus said to the fans Pickens would be here. He said that about Micah 1,000 times. Let's say everything that Jerry said. You know what else Jerry said? Jerry said that if it was anything left from me being fake, it would be nothing left. I'm always selling. That's what Jerry said. He's selling the fans because he know the fans love Pickens. So while he's shopping them, he go give a signal like everything is okay, but he's shopping them. You don't put no non-exclusive tag on somebody. That's like saying, baby, I really want to be with you. I love you. I have every intentions to be with you, but let's both go out here and date and see what we can get. Would you go for that, Shredrick? If your lady did that to you, or would you say, you got me messed up? God damn. Like, Jerry said he wanted, fuck what he said. What did his action show? When he put a non-exclusive on him, that allows Pickens to shop with all the other 31 teams, and Jerry and them can shop them. You don't go out there dating if you plan on getting married. Come on now. When has Dallas ever put a non-exclusive tag on anybody? the signal of them wanting to keep him would have been an exclusive tag. So an exclusive tag says we want you exclusively and you cannot talk to other teams. That's what you do when you want to marry somebody, bro. Come on now. We got to think, man. And he say it's leverage for the team, bro. Blame his agent. That's exactly what I've been saying. That's exactly what I just said. Do I need to turn off the music and say it again? Exactly what I said was, if you want Pickens, you got to show you willing to lose him. And that was a good move. They basically said, all right, shit, oh, you gonna send us to David? Oh, you not answering our calls? So now Jerry's selling. But the only way, and I'm telling you, the only way Pickens stays is going to have to be team friendly. That's why I'm doing this show, so people can know what the market value is and what is truly team friendly. Team friendly, according to his peers, is anything under $40 million. Because according to his peers and his tier, he is worth $40 million as an average per year. Now, if he come in under that, that's up to him. But if he want to be in Dallas, it's going to have to be under that. But it's not going to be, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be 34. It's definitely ain't going to be 33 to 30. It ain't going to be none of that. I put it like this. If he come in right at 34, I'm going to say, Pickens, you the stupidest dude in the world. You are dumb. It ain't that much love in the world for no team to just give them $20 million of my work. Hell no. Like, nah, bro. Because that wouldn't be shaving off a little bit. That'd be shaving off a whole lot of your work. Yeah. Like, nah, bro. The first person that he go say I have to surpass is DK. That's the first person he goes. That's the first person he go say I have to do better than that. Hands down. I have to send a signal to Pittsburgh. So DK got 33 million. So for all the people that's dreaming for 30, because some media people leaked that out there, because they hit y'all with I'm the insider and I say so. Boy, y'all better stop going for that. I'm the insider. I say so. 30 million. It's like, boy, fuck out of here, dog. Pickens ain't doing no 30. Not with no market value of 40. Hell no. And I done clearly calculated the math in y'all face. So if you want to believe in Santa Claus, that's on you. If you want to believe that Santa Claus is the one that brought you them milk and cookies, that's on your dumb ass. But when people grow up, they know it was mama and daddy that went to the store, paid money and bought the milk and cookies for your young ass. But all these people believing in Santa Claus are the people that's over here like, I think he would do 30. I'm like, you believe in Santa Claus. Hell no, he ain't doing that. And somebody say 30 a year isn't bad. I mean, it's one of them. Yeah, because the cap keep rising. Yeah, it's not bad. No, that's fair. That's fair. That's based on what his counterparts been getting. That's honestly fair, dog. His counterparts been getting 13% of the cap. That's what he should get. So let's do the math, and then I'm gonna get to the big points and get up out of here. Let's do the math, because at least we got some projections now. Okay, we got y'all projections. We got y'all on record. So a lot of y'all said, one person said 12% because he was like, well, because of 1 year, I'm only paying them 12%. All right, so let's start with the lowest number we saw. So let's go with the 12% first, and let's do the math on that. 12% times 301 Let me do it again. 12% times 301, which is the current cap. 36. And see, that was the guy that was saying, based on 1 year, even at his lowest, that's the lowest we got. My brother in the wheelchair. I don't know his name. Let me see if I can find him. He said 12%. That would still be 36 million at the lowest. Now, some of y'all said, most of y'all said 13% is fair. When you compare it based on the percentage of the cap. When you do it right and you compare these players based on percentage of the cap, most people, so 12% was 36 million. Now let's do 13%. So if y'all said, because we already showed y'all that Amon got right at 13%, right at 1.29, right? Then we showed y'all according to the percentages of the cap, which is the proper way to compare players, right? CeeDee got right at 13%. He is, to me, the easiest and the most obvious comparable. The easy and the most obvious because they was in the same system with the same quarterback. So that's the fairest one to me. That was 13%. So if we do 13% times 301, it's 39. If we do the exact CeeDee, which is 13.3%, which is 0.133 times 301, that's gonna put him right at 40. Some of y'all said 14%. Now, if that's 14%, we just doing the math right in y'all face. So Justin Jefferson at his signing got 35, which is 0.137%. So what y'all saying with that is I see Pickens on the level of Justin Jefferson. And if you do 301 times 0.137 is 41 million. For those who are saying I see Pickens on that level. For people that saying I see him on Chase level. Chase signed for 14%. So the highest number that I saw from y'all was 14%. Yeah, so Larry Mack was the one that said 12%. So if we do the Chase number, which is 14, I messed it up. Let me go back. I gotta put my, that's 43 million. See, now y'all should understand why the Puka Nacua report came out and said he's seeking $43 million. Is anybody surprised now? Why is Puka Nacua number 43? Why didn't he just get slightly above Jamar Chase? Because GMs and players know that yesterday's price is not today's price. So they already schooled Puka on, we are comparing in percentages of the cap. We're not doing that APY comparison. We not over here like, if he got 40.2, give me 40, give me 41. You just shot yourself. You just cheated yourself, Puka Nacua. You cheated yourself. But if he do it by percentages of the cap, what Puka Nacua is saying is, yeah, I am right there with Jamar Chase. So pay me 43, because when he signed it last year, that was yesterday's price. Based on today's price of the cap, that's 43. That's why you seeing reports of Puka Nacua wanting what? 43. And see, that's what be pissing me off. But people act like I'm playing with these numbers. Like I'm the one lying on the numbers. Like, no, I'm the one that been hitting these projections like bullseye every year. I did a show last year where I did the same thing for Osa, and I did the same thing for Parsons. And I told y'all, I said the market value for Osa was at that time 25. I said if he do anything under that, that's extremely team friendly, and he did. And that's why they signed him so fast. Anytime you fuck yourself, Dallas is gonna sign you fast. That's why it's a good sign that they just did all these switches on Dak, CeeDee, and they might be getting ready to sign Pickens. That's an indication that he likely getting ready to get signed, and it's likely gonna be. It's definitely if he signed and they run into it and they hitting all them switches that fast, it's probably like 36. Yeah, but that's team friendly. But the problem is a lot of fans ain't gonna even know it's team friendly. They gonna look at it sideways. They gonna say they paid him more than CeeDee Lamb. They paid him more than CeeDee Lamb. Wow. It's like actually they paid him less than CeeDee Lamb according to the percentage of the cap, because CeeDee Lamb got a higher percentage of the cap than what Pickens would be doing. It would be less according to the percentages of the cap. Yeah. But see, you need shows like this that do the work, show the work in your face. See, I'm not doing like a lot of people because I said so. I'm an insider. I say the number should be 34% and I said so. I ain't doing y'all like that. But yet people like Joshua Fisher want to come in here and cuss me out. And I'm over here showing history. Yeah, I'm showing proof, documentation. I'm over here showing my work. I'm showing the transaction history. I'm showing the proper way to really compare players. It's not average per year. It's the percentage of the cap in which they signed it. And then the person that show they work, that's the person. Some of y'all come in here and say, why are we effing comparing receivers? Because I want to do a Carfax. It's called Carfax. So anyway, let me show y'all the common mistakes that none of y'all should make after this presentation. Number one, comparing average per year on different years. That's the number one mistake you go see people make year in and year out. You will always see somebody say that. You will always see it. You will always see somebody say when it's time for one of our boys to get paid, he ain't no. And they go talk about a player that got paid 2 or 3 years ago. That's the common mistake you see when you're seeing people get into contract season, is they compare APYs instead of the percentage of the cap. That's the number one mistake you go see. But if you kept up with this presentation, you would never do that again. You would know how to do this. What you really supposed to do is take that percentage in which they signed at that time and then compare it to the new cap. And that's what lets you know what's fair. Mistake number two, you see a lot of people do. They comparing individual accomplishments versus tiers. They look at it like, that's why you see people say, wait, boss, wait a minute. Wait. You mean to tell me that Pickens is, wait, boss, wait. He hasn't done what Chase has done. Go look at the All Pros. Go look at Puka Nacua. And go see how many times he had multiple 1,000-yard seasons. They start looking at individual accomplishments. He had 3 All-Pros. He only had 2 Pro Bowls. Boss, come on. You can't make that comparison. It's really not about that, to be honest. Obviously, these players still have to perform. They have to put up some type of production. But the most important thing that they look at is what tier are you? Are you the wide receiver 1 tier? If you're in that tier, you, sir, are likely supposed to set the new market, sir. But you gonna hear people every year, bro. Like, that's what people was doing. Like when I said Pickens is, yeah, he worked. Yeah, he right at 39 or 40. That's it. Now, if he do under that, that's under him. That's on him. But his worth compared to his peers, his tier is wide receiver 1, sir. And there's a price for wide receiver 1. So then the next question would be, what happens when you have 2 wide receiver 1s do all at the same time? Thank you. See, Paul, this type of common sense ain't even common, bruh. This type of common sense from Paul is not common, bruh. And it's aggravating to me. Puka had Matt his whole career. Yes. And Patricia. Not Patricia. What's the coach name? What's that? McVay. He had McVay. Yeah. His whole and Matt. Then I guarantee you this. I guarantee you this. If Puka Nacua was in Pittsburgh, he wouldn't be shit. Ooh, I said it. I'm going to turn off the music and say it. If Puka Nacua had to take the route of Pickens, he wouldn't be shit. See, people not factoring in that he came in under the ideal situation. He came in as the number 2 and he had a dope number 1 who was able to disciple him. He had everything that can go right in your career go right. Everything. He came in as the number 2. He was able to then evolve into the number 1, which is the most ideal way to do it. Then he finally became the number 1, and the whole time he had great coaching and a great quarterback. But see, people don't think like Paul. They just look at, he's no Puka Nacua. I guarantee you $1 million if you would have dropped Pickens into LA with the Rams. Man, that thing would have been cooking. And see, people don't look at it like Paul. They just look at it like, he just had production from 1 year. Yeah, this was the 1 year he finally had a quarterback on Dak level. This was the 1 year Pickens finally had a quarterback on Dak level. And I know GMs understand that. I know coaches understand that. They not going to be over here like, it was just 1 year. Let's just see if he can do it again. No, they going to say, oh, okay. It looked like to make him go, you got to make sure he's partnered up with a good quarterback. None of us would slap CeeDee Lamb for his production under Cooper Rush. None of us. We would all have the common sense to say, well, this was an off year for CeeDee Lamb. You know, he had barely over 1,000, but that's because his quarterback was Cooper Rush. Like, everybody would get that, but they don't get that with Pickens. They don't get that. He just did it for 1 year. Nah. Did y'all see the quarterbacks over there at Pittsburgh? Everybody know Pittsburgh was in QB purgatory. Everybody know that. They was having musical chairs and all kind of bullshit. 3 and 4 quarterbacks a year and Russell Wilson and old ass quarterbacks. And they so thirsty for a quarterback, they went and got Aaron Rodgers. Old ass. They just doing anything for quarterback. And that's where Pickens was. Oh, people ain't thinking about that though. So just kind of summing it up. That's the second mistake you see people make when it comes down to comparing people in the market. They compare individual accomplishments instead of the tier. So like, for instance, in quarterback, like when it was time for Dak to get paid, that's the mistake people kept making. Oh, hell no. Hell no. He shouldn't get Aaron Rodgers money. He ain't got a Super Bowl. Oh, bastard. He not Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had individual accomplishments. No. And then we start doing the job for Jerry. Don't pay Dak, tag his ass. See, that's why I had these memes a long time ago. Because I've been going through these wars. This ain't the first war. I've been seeing this shit with Cowboy Nation. And the Cowboys been doing the same thing. They'll leak what they put out there, make them look greedy, and the fans, they start raging. See, this was the time I was laughing at people that were saying, Dak turned down 30 and 32? Tag his ass. We don't need him. Tag him. And I was like, bro, the tag is right at that, bro. What the fuck are we talking about? Because it was them individual accomplishments that kept getting them. It was that. He's no Russell Wilson. And the whole time, people kept doing that glazing, right? And they kept doing that front office glazing and kiss ass shit, right? And trying to, fight for Jerry money, which is crazy as hell. The whole time, what was happening is other quarterbacks kept jumping and making the market go up. The whole time people was, Dak, he don't have the individual accomplishments. And then other teams wasn't even paying attention to that. And they was like, well, let's just set the market and get this out the way. Let's go ahead and get Wentz done. And they did. The Rams said, let's get Goff done. And they did. The Texans said, let's get Watson done. And they did. And our goofy asses over here. He ain't no Mahomes. He don't. No, it's about the tier, sir. The tier is this for quarterback. Are you a franchise quarterback? That's the tier. If you are able to be labeled a franchise quarterback, you will likely get market value. And you likely will set the market. Just for being in the tier. So it's not about individual, but see, when CeeDee Lamb was trying to get his money, you know what people were saying? He shouldn't get Justin Jefferson money. He not no Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson got more out pros than he do. So he shouldn't get that. It's that individual accomplishment shit. And see, if you really want to know how it worked, them agents never go in there and talk just about individual accomplishment. They might bring that up, but you know what they really bring up? You know what they really talk about? How much money is this player bringing your organization? That's what they really talk about. They talk about it from business. See, if it was just about individual accomplishments, any one of us could be an agent. Because all we got to go do is go do a simple comparison to how many all pros, how many catches, how many yards, and hey, my client is better than your clients. No, it don't work like that. What they go in there is they say, how many eyeballs are looking at y'all because of CeeDee Lamb? How many times was he in the news? How many times did FX1, ESPN, and all these content channels bring his name up for your brand awareness? How much brand exposure are you getting off CeeDee Lamb? So when you look at it on what the return is, he's underpaid. If you look at how much money CeeDee Lamb brings into Dallas in just branding, he worth way more than Justin Jefferson. But we compare individual accomplishments, and we do it every year. Every year we make the same mistake every year. And we do that to devalue our own guys. That's what you was hearing a lot today. He only did it for 1 year. That's individual accomplishment talk. Versus the simple talk of is he a receiver one? Is he a wide receiver one? Yeah, he belong in that tier where you got to pay him. That's why if I go to above the cap right now and show you all the previous receivers, every one of them except a few of them surpassed it. This is the last common mistake that you're seeing. And Fisher was pushing this one. I think Coach Marv too. This is another common mistake. Believing bidding creates value. Me and Mike Fisher went back and forth on that today and yesterday on Twitter. And I was like, no, Fish, it's not. And I respect Fish. You know, I got respect for him. But I'm not going to just fold to you because you're an insider. I'm not going to just, oh, you're the insider, so let me just stand corrected because you're the guy that's the insider. I'm just a little old itty bitty. Because, you know, he was pushing that 40 wasn't a real number. Fisher. He was pushing that 40 wasn't a real number. And he was saying, guys, we got to use some economics. And I was like, Fish, I got an economics degree and a finance degree and an entrepreneurship degree. I got 3 degrees, all in the areas that makes me good at this, bro. Finance, obviously I know how to do numbers. Like, goddamn, like for real. You know what I'm saying? Economics, I got everything that you said makes me qualified to have this conversation. And I said, yeah. And I was like, no, you don't need a bidding war to know somebody's worth. You don't need 2 teams to compete to know somebody's worth. And he was like, boss, come on now, boss. And you know me, I went and showed him one of his tweets where he was saying what the value was for Dak. I said, how did you have a value for Dak when Dak had never had anybody competing for him? How did that happen? How did that happen? See, Dak never had nobody compete for him. But yet, isn't it funny? All of us knew what the market's supposed to be for him. Well, not all of us. Some of us. You don't need teams to compete to know a player's value. You need to know their peers. That's what you need to know. You need to know what's around them and what's been going on around them. And once you know what's been going on around them, that's what allows you to calculate what's fair. When you look at the peers of Pickens and the fact that he getting right at 12%, and you look at the other peers like Chase, like Justin Jefferson, the ultimate peer, CeeDee Lamb. That's how you know. The mistake that most people make is thinking we gotta wait till they start bidding. Dallas needed to see what he was worth. No, Dallas know right around what he's worth without the non-exclusive tag. They did not need to send him to the market to have a fair assessment of what he was worth. Every one of us did it here. Every one of us. When we showed what the percentages of the cap was. Huh? So you say AOC hating on me. Hold on real quick. What happened? Oh, okay. I'm finna say. Anyway. Let me go back to what I was saying. Because when you don't need the bidding. You don't. You just need to know the peers. That's the key. Because the key thing that I was just saying, this is the key thing that I'm saying. When I showed every one of y'all what the percentages of the cap was for his peers, wasn't we all able to determine what's fair for Pickens? Now, we didn't all exactly agree, but we did have a good range. We saw 12% to around 14%. Numerically, that broke down to around 38 million to around 42 million. That's the range. So, the common mistake that you see, and this is why I did this show, because every year there's going to be a new contract fight. And when there's a new contract fight, we will always have to come do this show to show you what that person's really worth is. And you will always see me doing a show that's going to be showing their peers, because I do it the right way. So some of y'all saw me going back and forth with angry Cowboy fan, right? And I totally win at spot track, right? Now some people think I'm doing that to hate on Pickens. I got receipts that I've been talking about this for over a year. Look, I'ma also show y'all that why to not just blindly trust Sport Track. Did y'all hear that? Because Angie was in this show. I did this show last year when I was showing Osa's market value and Micah's market value. And because I know how to do it, I can tell when somebody's numbers are off. And I've been looking at Spot Track. It's a lot of people, they got that 30 million from Spot Track. Spot Track said Pickens' value is 30. I'm like, Spot Track is wrong. And they've been wrong for years. I've been looking at this for years. Some people think I'm saying that to do this at Pickens. No, I've been noticed that their numbers been off. I'm also what got deleted? What's going on? What's going on in the chat? I need to know what's going on. But listen, I'ma also show y'all that why to not just blindly trust Sport Track, because it's a proper way to really determine market value. And when I've been looking at the average estimates on some of these sites, it's not done right, because what they're doing is they're doing it by average a lot of times, and that's really not how to do it. You gotta, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. And I did the exact same thing last year that I just did this year, where I looked at the peers of Micah Parsons and I looked at the peers of Osa and people that he was in the family with, in the same tier with, to determine what's fair. That's the appropriate way to do it. The percentage of the cap. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm doing this show to. I'm also show y'all that I'm doing this show because you never want to be like that guy Joshua Fisher. That is the wrong guy. That guy that came in here. What the F are we actually comparing receivers, markets? Don't ever be that dude. Don't ever be that person that takes pride in being ignorant. Where they don't know, where they take pride in just like, I don't want to know the Carfax. I just want to go buy the car. Well, you fuck around and get a lemon, sir. So when I do shows like this for education, take it serious. Take it serious, because very few content creators go ever go to this detail to show you they work. They go just do like crooked pastors. You know, never trust a pastor that say, don't bring your Bible to church. I'm the Bible. I'm the person that I'm going to tell you what the truth is. I'm the insider. I'm the content creator. No, your better pastors tell you about the word and they show you the word of God. They don't just tell you, they show you. If somebody's just trying to tell you that it's like this because I said so, they likely manipulating you. So if somebody is showing you the history of the cap and how it exploded, and the explosion of the cap, even in basketball, similar to what's happening in football, to where they clearly said when you see big spikes in the cap, don't compare these people with normal contract numbers like the average per year. You got to do it by the percentages or your numbers go be off. And I'm showing you. Then I go individually and do it per receiver. You do all of that work just so people can know. Whenever they start talking, y'all need to know the range that's fair. And I did that today. And I'm going to have to do it every year, because I'm not big enough yet to really put a big dent in the lack of knowledge that's out here. Like if I had a national syndication, it'd be a whole lot of people that would be smarter and wouldn't be manipulated by some of the propaganda that can be leaked from front office. Like if people already understood this, they would have saw through the Aubrey bullshit. They would have already said, hold on. They said they offered him more than the kicker. What was the kicker number? 6.4. What they say they offered him? 6.5. Oh, okay. They trying to fuck you over. What you mean? Oh, that's 6.4. He signed that 2 years ago. The cap rose 50 million after that. So yesterday's price, not today's price. So today's number would be 7.7. Oh, and see, when you understand that, you know which side was trying to play you. Front office and their media minions and the guys that they use. They was trying to turn you into a zombie. They was trying to make you attack Aubrey and put pressure on him. And his poor wife had to come out and say, false. That's so messed up, bro. This is false. Just imagine that, bro. Just imagine you just in negotiations and all of a sudden you see all these fans. Oh man, get rid of his ass. Give me a second round tender. His greedy ass. He wants 10 million. You can get his ass out of here. He's not worth it. It's like, what happened to all the people that was pay Aubrey? What happened to all the people that was, I love Aubrey? They turned on him. And they know exactly how to turn you. They got one, and they if Pickens fought for his money, they was gonna do it to him too. They know the exact trick on how to turn the fans, and it's real simple. They leak out a half truth. They'll say, we offered him more, and he turned it down. My poor billionaire. See, people don't know Jerry is one of the best at playing a Karen that you will ever see in your life. I call him a billionaire Karen. And it works. It works. The fans fall for it almost every time. So when he was going at Micah, what did he do to get the fans to turn on Micah? And it worked. He went out there and he did a whole tour and he said, I offered Micah the most guarantee of any player of all time. And what it does is make it seem like, you did, Jerry? And that greedy motherfucker turned it down? Okay, Jerry. I got your back now. Forget that Micah Parsons. He just want his money. It's all about money with these greedy athletes. It's all, and they just turn. They just turn to zombies. They know the buzzwords to get you. That's why you do shows like this. So it'll bounce off of you next time. Let's get the fuck out of here with that, bro. You trying to play with me, Jerry? And look at the other Karen thing he did. People ain't peeping, but it was pure Karen. It was so Karen. That agent, you know what he said to me when I was trying to get a deal done with Michael? He told me to stick that contract where the sun don't shine. He said to stick it up your ass. And then there's a lot of Cowboy fans. You know that agent told Jerry to stick it up his ass. He's like, bro, you mean to tell me a guy that's gonna be year in and year out having to talk to Jerry for one client is gonna destroy a relationship? And at the very first conversation of talking to Jerry, allegedly supposed to have said, take that negotiation that you and Micah had and stick it. That's playing Karen. See, that's that billionaire Karen. They turned it down. We tried to offer Aubrey. He turned it down. And if Pickens wasn't gonna be team friendly, they was gonna do him the same way. Because they did Dak the same way. They did Dak the exact same way. They had all these reporters out there leaking. Dak turned down 32 million, 33 million, and they kept showing what Dak turned down. They never told a complete story of how they was trying to screw him. Yeah. See, I paid attention, so I already had the. So when they start leaking the details, I paid attention. See, I was the one that was over like, oh, he turned down 35, but y'all left off the fact that you offering left guarantee though. See, y'all left that out. You also left out the fact that all his counterparts, his peers, got 4-year contracts, and y'all offering a 5-year contract, which is basically shooting himself in the foot from getting in the market. They go get in the market faster than him. That would be stupid. Why would he take that deal? So anyway, I just wanted to do this show, man. Hopefully everybody kind of understand the market a lot better. In summary, it's about your peers, y'all. Don't make the mistake that most people make every year, but you're going to see a lot of people make it. Every year you're going to hear the same conversation. When Tyler got time to get paid, because he going to be an all-pro, he going to do his thing, guess what they going to be saying? Tyler Guyton ain't worth the next best tackle. They go compare the averages per year. It's gonna be a mistake. Then it's gonna be another conversation. You gonna see people trying to say, well, Tyler Guyton, he just did it for 1 year. It's gonna be about them individual accomplishments again. You know, instead of what tier is he? Is he really in a top tackle tier? And you gonna see people make the mistake of thinking that you have to bid to know somebody's value. No, you don't. You just need to know the peers. Man, it's your boy Boss Show Me, man, bringing you another one. Until the next one, make sure y'all do y'all boy a favor. Hit that like and subscribe. Share this type of content. Try to pull these people out of dumb land and ignorant land, you know. Be very, 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 very careful of who you listen to during times like this, because it's a lot of pandering out here. It's a lot of people out here that's actually even being used. Jerry and them got his people out there. They trying to manipulate. It's a lot of stuff going on right now, and you have to be able to keep your eyes open. You have to. So I'm gonna continue to do this as our players are fighting, so that people can know what's appropriate and what's fair, and so that you won't be subject to the propaganda and sometimes our own feelings. We need to know what's fair ourselves so that we don't be targeting our players unjustly. And ignorance will have us doing that. At this point now, we should know the range. The range is truly, and his proper market value is right at 39 and 40 million. Now, if he does under that, what y'all need to know is that he gave Dallas a deal. And that does happen, because guess what? Osa did. He was team friendly. He was below market. Diggs was below his market. All those guys was below their market. So Pickens could do it. And the way that they starting to move money around right now, that's giving me an indication that there have been some talks. And Pickens might have said when he talked to Jerry, let's just get it done. Because the way they moving money around, it looks that way. So I'm just being honest with y'all, but I want y'all to know before he get paid what his true market value is. So until the next live, until the next video, it's your boy Boss Show Me. Don't let these people lie to you, man. Do not let these people lie to you, because they will if you let them.